my name's Elliot Liburd. I play Great Gatsby.
I guess we can collaborate on a bit about the show.
Yeah.
I'll give you my name too. So I'm Safeena Ladha, and I'm playing Daisy Buchanan. And then I guess a bit about the show. Well, it's immersive.
Yeah, it's an immersive show. I think what about it is it does follow like a straight narrative, as in, all the things that are, it's a scripted show, much like any other play. The things that happen. Audience have some choice in there as well.
Yeah.
Where they go, whose story they follow.
It is very much like an actual party in the sense that people go off to different rooms where different things happen, but it all leads to the same storyline. If that, I probably didn't explain that very well.
Yeah, right, that sounds good. What kind of attracted you both to the roles?
Sorry, what was that?
What attracted you to the roles within the show?
I think Gatsby's quite a mysterious person. You don't really know where he's come from or how he got there. He, flips in and out of the party, of his own party. So I think that's quite an exciting thing to play. That you're no one quite sure, haven't got quite a hand on you, I suppose.
And Daisy, I think she's quite a complicated character, like a lot more complicated than people might first think. I think there's probably by a lot of people a sort of idea of her just being the golden girl, the love interest. Oh, she's just Gatsby's love interest in the story, but actually she's a lot more than that, and she's really interesting and she's difficult. Like, I find her a challenge to play, but in a good way, because there's so much to her. Her brain is here, there, and everywhere, and like some of the things I say, like at first for a while I'd have to think about, well, why am I saying that after I've just said that, and why? So she's so interesting in that sense.
Yeah, and do you guys see any kind of yourselves within the characters?
Not really, personally, but that's kind of why I like her. I like playing people that are very different to me. I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think Gatsby feels things very intensely. I think not always in a positive way, but I think there is some relation to he feels things very deeply inside himself, like to his bones, and I think that's something that is interesting to try and tap into within myself.
I agree with that in terms of Daisy, or if she thinks she feels things very intense.
Yeah.
So
I feel their feelings are accurate, whether or not they're from
they both feel very intense, which is.
Yeah. And obviously, as you guys mentioned at the start, it's immersive. So, as you say, it kind of goes on different paths for the audience. How do you guys kind of balance that? Kind of, I guess, kind of some of it's on then improvise, because obviously you're bouncing off the audience.
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, that's, there is a script. We follow the script. Within that, there are, in certain rooms or certain scenes, there might be chunks where this is important information that I get across. But if I'm engaged in a conversation with them, I want to maintain that conversation, because it's. I think we think of them as guests as opposed to audience members.
Yeah.
So we're having conversations with guests at the party, and there's got to be some sort of leeway within that.
Yeah. And there definitely is improvisation based off what people say.
Yeah, of course. And it kind of does that kind of, does that make it kind of obviously different? I know you say that the core story's there, but I guess that makes every show for you guys different.
Yeah, it does.
Because people can give you. They might not even say something massively different to say the audience the night before.
Yeah.
But their energy, I suppose, can be very different, and that can affect how a room can feel.
Mm-hmm.
So even the feeling of something can change, if not necessarily the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if an audience is like yesterday, they were really, really nice, really encouraging to me, and they're like, "It's going to be great. When you meet Daisy, it's going to be wonderful. You look great. You're going to have a love." And so, you go into the next scene in a different way than you did the previous night. And I think it's allowing that to affect you in a way that doesn't derail the show in any way.
Yeah,
but that
might change your intentions a little bit going into something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess because you're still in the first week, has it kind of changed as you get towards kind of the end of the week, where kind of, I guess, the party audience is going to be more willing to party, I suppose.
Well,
kind of
Friday tonight we'll see.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It should be fun. But guys, did you guys have to do like much research for the roles? Kind of, obviously, I know it's the book and there's obviously films of it.
Mm-hmm.
We read the book, which helped, and we were given Careless People to read as well, which is sort of a story of like researched book about Fitzgerald and his wife and
journey to the story of the Great Gatsby.
Yeah, things that were happening in the time.
I rewatched the film, the most recent film, and we also, as part of the audition process, we got to come and watch the show with the cast at the time.
Mm-hmm. I watched some stuff from multi-marketing sales people. Yeah. There's a moment in the show where Gatsby's trying to, get people to invest in something, and I think it was really interesting watching these people, how they hook people. I found that quite interesting to watch when they talk about money, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And kind of, as you say, you've kind of been able to see the production. Does that kind of change the pressure coming into a show that's been running and quite successful to obviously doing a new show where you kind of don't know what it's going to be?
I think, I feel like either way there would be pressure.
Yeah, of course.
If you're creating something new, then there's the pressure to, have that be something that's new and everyone likes. And to have it kind of be this new success or whatever, but then also have it going into something that's already successful has its own pressure to it as well, because you want to keep that up.
Yeah.
But then with this story, anyway, even if this was the very first time the show was ever being done, there was always going to be the book beforehand for people to have opinion on the story anyway. So I feel like with this story, there would already be pressure because people have. It's so well known, and people know the book so well.
It's in people's version of the story is in people's consciousness, isn't it? So
yes,
of course. As you guys just mentioned, like the book has lasted for however many years. Why do you think the story remains so popular?
We were talking about this earlier. I think it's interesting because when the book came out, it totally flopped. Like people weren't interested in it. And then in World War II, they were given it as part of their rations to, and I think it brought back, images of glitz and glamour and what could America could be. And I think it's just a love story, isn't it? It's a tragic love story, where I think there's something about that people
connect to.
Yeah, they relate to it. Yeah. They feel very strongly. They want something positive to happen. It doesn't. I think that's just like being human. I think people really connect to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, the website says that it recommends people to come in the full regalia, kind of 1920s dress. Yeah. But obviously, on the flip side, people don't have to do that. So is it kind of interesting to get that different kind of mode? Yeah.
Yeah, because it really is just an extra layer of that world for us to be in as well.
Yeah.
But it's not a negative thing if people aren't dressed up, because they'll contribute just as much to the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't really matter what they're wearing, but yeah, obviously it's really nice if people are dressed up.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go and raid like a fancy dress shop because I'm coming in a couple of weeks, so. But I have 5, I call them quick fire questions, but it's up to you guys how quick you want to answer them. These are more about you than the show. We'll start with, what was the first piece of theatre that you can remember seeing?
I remember seeing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's the first one I remember seeing because there was one man that played all the dwarfs. Really cool. He was so amazing. So that's what I very clearly remember about it.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
I saw a version of Lord of the Rings, and there was like lots of puppetry involved. I think there were like orcs on stilts and stuff like that.
That's cool.
I remember being quite excited by that sort of thing. Yeah,
That is a good shout.
Yeah.
What would be, I know it's difficult, what would be the best piece of theatre that you guys have seen?
Oh, that we have seen.
Yeah.
I would say Electrolyte. That's a piece of gig theatre.
Mm. I recently saw Queens of Sheba, which was at Soho. I thought that was it was really funny, very poignant, rattled at a great pace. It was really, really exciting.
Amazing. I know you've just started in the show, so don't think too far ahead to your next role. But if you could invent a new immersive experience for a show, you guys can pick the show. It can be a book, film, whatever. What would you pick?
We spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought Tarzan would be pretty fun.
I completely agree.
Swinging through big space, big animals, why not?
Yeah, trees. Everywhere. Yeah, why not?
You feel really in it, like you come into a completely new, like especially in the middle of the city, you come into a rainforest.
Do you know what else might be cool? The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to see that tomorrow, so not immersive, obviously, but
Oh, cool.
that should be good.
Yeah.
What was, if you can have dinner with 3 guests, it's always a difficult one. Who are you going to invite and why?
I don't know. You had one. We could do one between.
Yeah, I have one which is Louis Theroux.
Yeah, I'd like him to be there.
I love him.
Yeah.
No. Just us two and Louis.
Us two and Louis. Yeah. I thought maybe RBG.
She's dead now, but that'd be fine.
But it said dead or alive.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
can.
Can we bring him back?
You can.
I like Stephen Colbert. I think he's funny. I think he'd be like nice to chat to.
Nice to chat to.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be like less. There's people who I'd like to meet, but I feel like I'd be too nervous. Stephen Fry.
I thought, along those lines, I thought like Brian Cox, Sandy Toksvig, like someone who can teach me something about science.
Yeah, Sandy Toksvig would be great.
Yeah.
I guess this is a twofold question. What would you go do in that situation then if you're in the show and they were there?
Oh my god!
I'd try and pull them into a room and chat to them. I think.
Yeah. I'd like to. Yeah, get Louis.
Like, a shotgun.
Yeah, I want Louis.
And what would be the best piece of advice you guys have ever been given?
Yeah, you had one. You had a good one.
Don't be bored.
That's strong.
And that is a direct quote from my grandfather.
And I think just you got this. I think it's just a really big. It's a nice. Works for most things in your brain. It's like you can do it. Like you don't need external things. Like they may not always be there, but what is always there is you. So you can do it. You've got this.
Oh, that's really nice. That's way better than Don't Be Bored.
No, it's really good.
Don't Be Bored is good. They're both good.
That wasn't. Yeah, that that years ago, like back when I was at school.
Yeah, it's just stuck with you still. So it must be good.
It is a good one.
No, it's important.
Just
It's important to kind of keep busy, I suppose.
Yeah, make things more fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course. And my final question for you today is the simple one. Simply, why should audiences come and see the Great Gatsby Immersive Experience?
If you want to have a party, if you want to have fun, if you want to see a classic story told in a new, exciting way.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're phrasing this really nice.
Yeah, I think if you want to see something that you think that you know, maybe we'll surprise you. What do you think?
I just agree. I don't think I can add anything that's going to make that any better.
That is brilliant. Well, thank you guys. If anyone wants to get tickets, it's on at the Gatsby Mansion in Immersive London, and it's on book until October at the minute, but hopefully, you never know, probably extend further down the line. But thank you guys for your time.